Dear participants to the conference, I'm very much honored that you have invited me to the conference as a speaker, but I'm also sad that I cannot be with you. Today, when your conference is held in Ljubljana, the Brussels ITRE committee is voting on an extensive research program, Horizon 2020, which includes energy as one of the priority areas. Looking back on the 5 years that I have spent in the European Parliament, this has been an exciting period when we shaped common European energy policy. These were the years when the energy did not really interest most politicians in 2004 and 2005, whereas in the winter of 2006, energy suddenly became extremely important. The European Union felt problems with safe security of gas supply because of disagreements between Russia, Belarus and Ukraine. In 2007, energy came to the forefront of our debates because of the global awareness of climate change. The European Union has acted unilaterally and quickly, and the energy remained a very important European policy also after 2008. Decarbonization of the European energy is costly, and in the times of crisis, higher energy prices compared to the prices in the US are stifling the European households, economy and entrepreneurs. Today, there are many challenges, more challenges in the field of European energy than we had in the past. The decision to shape a common energy policy is a young decision, and the legal basis for it has existed only since 2009 with the ratification of the Lisbon Treaty. Beforehand, many legislative acts had been adopted, but they were not very much systematic in covering the areas that we have set for ourselves as the goal and objective of the common European policy, the sustainable energy. More emphasis was placed on environmental aspects, which also partly covered the security of supply, whereas the third angle of the sustainable triangle, the competitiveness, was neglected. Today we have two very extensive legislative packages. First, let me mention the climate and energy package. This one includes binding goals and mechanisms for greenhouse gas emissions and for increasing the renewables share by 2020. The implementation of this legislative package has been successful. What is less positive is that to this aim, strong non-market national mechanisms were established. For example, subsidies for certain energy sources which impede competitiveness on the market, and also the formulation of the internal energy market. The second important package is the third electricity and gas liberalization package. This is a bundle of rules with the goal that national markets gradually open up to competition and abolish limitations for consumers when they want to change their suppliers. Unfortunately, these rules are being transposed too slowly and not very equally between member states. According to my information, Slovenia is now the only country which has not yet implemented the European legislation into its national acts. After these acts are transposed, they will also need to be implemented, and here we are lagging behind even more. Therefore, the top political summit, the European Council, has decided that the internal market has to become alive by mid-2014. This is just around the corner, and now we are facing many challenges. Let me just enumerate a few. The energy market cannot function well if decisions are shaped by subsidies rather than market impulses. We need a serious consideration at European level how the approach to subsidies should be aligned between member states or even perhaps managed from the European level. The second challenge is that the energy market does not function well because energy prices are strongly politically regulated via many duties. What worries me is that while wholesale energy prices are dropping, retail energy prices are growing. The energy market in Europe will only be possible if we link regional markets, if we connect them better. To that end, we need new cross-border connections and an upgrade of some old connections. In order to connect regional market, investments are needed, but these are only possible in a stable legislative environment and in the event that the investment is repaid. To ensure fair operation of internal European energy market, we will also need appropriate human resources. Well-educated and reliable staff are a key for efficient operation of the system. And not least, the present legislative framework is too complex and many goals are overlapping. Interactions of the present legislation has not been recognized well in advance. The rules are changing too fast. Compared to the rest of the world, Europe has more demanding standards, therefore our energy prices are much higher. Under such conditions, it is very difficult for our economy to compete with big world players such as the United States or with the emerging markets such as India, Brazil and China. We thus have much hard work ahead in the energy sector. I would divide it up into short-term, mid-term and long-term tasks. The short-term tasks are the ones that need to be carried out before the present term of the European Commission and Parliament is over. This is within some 7 months. Our first task is to successfully conclude all negotiations related to the multi-annual financial framework for 2014 to 2020. We need to adapt all financing programs as well, where I would especially like to highlight the Connecting Europe facility, which also envisages certain funds for the construction. Directive, which also establishes highest standards in the area of nuclear safety and introduces regular peer review of nuclear power plants. What about the mid-term tasks of the European energy policy? These are the ones that will need to be carried out in the next term of the European Parliament and the Commission, i.e. to the previously mentioned challenges. They will have to focus on consumer. I guess that we can expect a draft for the new fourth energy framework. At the same time, the members of the new parliament will also need to set up the policy framework till 2030. This will be a very demanding task because this framework will have to comprise the following elements. It will need to ensure a balance in guaranteeing sustainable energy. Thus, it will have to take care of all three angles to the sustainability triangle. It will need to ensure sustainability of supply, take care of the environment, and also boost the competitiveness of our economy. It will also need to ensure the robustness and simplicity in the operation of the market. The ETS trading scheme will have to become the main instrument for decarbonization. Only in this way we will be able to reduce our emissions in a competitive manner. We will need to support technologically neutral solutions rather than giving a political advantage to certain energy sources and certain technologies. The energy system will need to be adapted to a higher share of renewables. This means a better regulation via smart grids and better interconnection of systems and also the development of reserve capacities. And now on to our long-term tasks. Up until 2050, a framework will need to be set, a solid strategy. Of course, this framework will then have to be checked continuously against the topical situation in the European Union and across the globe. We will then have to take the decision where the energy policy should be placed in the structure of the European Union. Should it be defined exclusively by the member states, or should it become the true European policy, or should it be a subject of a clearly divided competence? With such extensive and demanding tasks, it is not insignificant that elections to the European Parliament are very nearby because they will be taking place next May. Of course, in the times of crisis, many criticisms can be heard about the distance between the politicians and citizens. Still, the elections are the best way for the electorate body to influence the rules in the next 5 years. There is still much work ahead in the energy sector. I hope that much energy is also available in the member states, at the European level, as well as in the private sector active in the energy sector. We will all need this energy. I wish the participants in your interest many good ideas, many resourcefulness in finding common solutions, and much motivation to act.